myself and Lucy, we've nattered away about all the different kinds of things to include in a trip to England. And it's quite challenging because I don't know you, but I do know that a lot of people, I don't even know if you're all in America, you could be anywhere around the world, but I do know that a lot of people have traveled the world widely. A lot of people go to big cities like London, Paris, New York, regularly, whether to see family or because they just love the cities. And there's often this element of, yeah, been there, done it, been there, done it. And so this tour is not a tourist trip to England or London. This is very much J orientated. And so we'll be walking past lots of very important buildings because we'll be wanting to hone in on the Jewish aspects. And so these shots, some of them are a bit old, the photographs are a bit grainy. They're my photos, a bit grainy. Just give you an idea that that's the beginnings, the origins of Anglo-Jewry really in London. It's now the City of London, but it was how London began, the Roman Londinium. And even if you were a Martian and you came down from space and you had no idea about anything Anglo-Jewish, or Jewish for that matter, if you go to the City of London, you've got these kind of hints. And these two churches, Church of England churches, well, one's just a tower, one's St. Lawrence Jewry and one is St. Olaf Jewry. So even churches in ye old City of London were named after the Jewish community that lived in those specific areas. So that's really the crux, the beginning of our Jewish journey. And then, of course, just on the edge of the city and the Jewish East End, you have the oldest synagogue, oldest working synagogue in the United Kingdom. Very well known. It's Bevis Marks. It's just undergone a recent renovation, and in fact, tours are only just beginning. So the tour that you'll have here will be one of the first tours. And again, I spend my life in the past, but I often contemplate that if people who knew the past came back to London, just say, and they came back to the streets and the buildings, would they recognize them? This is what I grapple with all the time, because people talk about constant change in a city, constant change, but actually, if you do stop, just breathe in and take stock. There's so much still around from hundreds of years ago. And this is what Bevis Marks still looks like today. And I would wager, apart from the arrival of electricity and a bit of new wood, where they had to, just a bit of woodworm, the synagogue itself was built over 300 years ago, 1700, 1701. I'm not telling you the full story because you get that on the trip. But the point is, anybody who knew this shul in the 1700s, when they come back now in 2025, it will look almost exactly the same. And this for me is one of the glories of the kind of some of the stories that can be told. Of course, there are many stories where you have to say what was here, this was the site of, this was gone, this was demolished. But there is still so much to discover that's still around for you. Smaller synagogues, I'll be doing a walking tour of the Jewish East End, like I said, the equivalent of the Lower East Side in New York. And here's a synagogue. There used to be 65 shuls. There's now only 3 in the East End. And this is one of them. And again, it's the detail. There's the mezuzah. And I'm not going to tell you why the mezuzah looks like that mezuzah, because you'll be on the walking tour and you will find out why that mezuzah is part of the story of Sandys Row Synagogue. Yeah, no spoilers, no spoilers. And then here's that magnificent mural that I mentioned, also in the East End. This will be part of the East End tour. East End is much bigger than people give it credit for. So we'll be doing some on foot and we'll be doing some in the minibus or mini coach, whatever it is we'll be in. You can't walk it all, it's too big. This mural is absolutely stupendous, and it tells a very, very important story. The Battle of Cable Street in 4th of October 1936, and it's a brilliant mural for lots of different reasons, and that battle, as it were, is a sort of a piece of people power, where, again, it's quite a complex story, but I will be standing you in front of it. You'll see it in all its colourful glory, and I'll tell you the full story when you're there. But it is really one of my favourite things in London. I do actually have a lot of favourite things. You don't have to be with me very long to know that everything's my favourite book, favourite film, favourite building, favourite mural. Otherwise, why do what I do if it's not all my favourite?